Oh, record.
Yep, you got it.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome and thank you so much for agreeing to this interview about merit-based pay for educators. Do you give me permission to record this interview?
Yes, I do.
And do you give me permission to share the video recording of this interview on my online blog?
Yes.
Okay, great. According to a study found on tech.com, conducted as a joint effort by Harvard University, University of Chicago, and UC San Diego, merit-based pay, or performance pay, as it's sometimes called, is a somewhat controversial practice that bases a teacher's salary and success on that of their students. Merit-based pay can be implemented through a reward system where teachers are paid more for their good performance, or through loss evasion, where teachers are given bonus and then asked to pay that money back if they fail to meet standards. My first question is, what are your thoughts on merit-based pay for educators? Is it a good idea, or are there any negatives to it?
I think there's a lot of negatives to it. It's not that I mind merit-based pay, because I am a competitive person, as you know.
Mhm.
And I do like to overachieve in my areas if possible. But what I have seen with merit-based pay is it can cause a lot of animosity in the workplace, and it sometimes is subjective, and it's based on the students that you get that year in your classroom, and that changes every year. I mean, one teacher may have a class full of gifted students, and one teacher may have, our low babies. So I think that if they're using testing data to, you know, grade your performance that way, I don't necessarily always think that that's a reflection of your teaching practices and how you've, taught for that year. Also, I have seen where it has caused cheating to occur amongst teachers and adults, especially with CRCT practices back, a few years ago. I think we still have some cases where people are still going to court and jail over cheating scandals that were all pretty much surrounded by merit-based pay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I want to go back to how you mentioned it can be based on the different groups of students, because I know you and me have had many conversations about how we're not the best test takers, and I think that might
Right.
play a big part in that as well.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, you can get, you can have a classroom. You can also have a very mixed classroom full of, all different types of students. But, if you've got a classroom full of high achievers, then of course, that teacher's data is going to look more desirable than others. So if you are doing merit-based pay, it just really needs to be done with fidelity. And you need to be able to, compare data, not just look at it, a baseline number. And you need to be able to compare it with showing growth. I do that a lot in my job. I may have kids that will not always be at grade level by the end of the year, but as long as they've shown progress, I'm happy with that because I know the expectations.
Okay, my next question is, do you feel that merit-based pay should be implemented into all schools, or more specifically, the school you work at?
No, I don't think it should be implemented in all schools, and definitely not the school I work at, because we have tried it. I want to say probably about 5 years ago. And again, it caused a lot of animosity in the workplace. And it seemed like what the county was basing it on, it was almost near impossible to get to achieve the merit-based pay.
Uh-huh.
So they did away with it. They did away with it probably about 5 years ago.
All right. Next, I asked, one specific benefit of merit pay is the idea that teachers will work harder in order to perform better so that they will earn as much as they can. Do you think this is always the case?
I don't think it's always the case if it's a person that's not motivated by that incentive necessarily. Some people are just happy with a subpar day and subpar work, and so I think for somebody like that, it wouldn't matter either way. You know me myself, I'm very competitive again,
Uh-huh.
so I would be doing anything and everything, scratching and crawling to, get my merit-based pay for sure.
Me too. Do you feel that if merit-based pay were implemented into your school, that you personally would feel more motivated to perform better? Well, I guess you did just answer that.
Oh, always.
Yes.
Yes. You know me, always, always. If it's, especially if there's money involved, obviously, I'll work summer school.
Mhm.
I will go to seminars. I will do whatever as long as there's money
Yes.
involved. I'm very motivated by money.
Okay. All right. Next, I asked, without tenure ineffective, teachers cannot be protected by seniority, making it easier to remove lower performing educators and promote high quality teaching. Do you feel that this is necessarily a good thing, or do you think we should try and keep these low performing educators seen as schools nationwide are in need of more
More
educators?
educator. I do not agree with keeping low performing educators. I think it's just a disservice to our students and our, you know, upcoming future leaders. I think that they should definitely always have a great role model in front of them that is looking out for their best interest and can perform well. I do think that sometimes a low performing teacher can be remediated, worked with, and because
Uh-huh.
it just may necessarily be that maybe, it's just a couple things that just didn't click, or they didn't understand. But I do think that things can be remediated a lot of times. I've seen several times where student teachers have come and I thought, oh my gosh, they will never work out in the classroom. And then, you know 6 years down the line, they're an amazing teacher. And I always have my theory of, I think you become an even better teacher once you have children of your own and are around children of your own. And so you have a little more empathy, and I think you become a much better teacher and leader. And so sometimes things take time.
I agree. All right. My last question is, in the future, do you foresee merit-based pay being implemented within Gwinnett County schools? Earlier, you mentioned that it had been and taken away, so I guess I can change the question to be, do you think it might come back ever?
So that's what I was going to say. I can absolutely still answer that question because Gwinnett County, never say never. So because we actually have just brought back PBIS, which is our behavior system that we had before COVID, and then kind of got away from it, and now we're back to it. So that just really kind of depends on who our leaders are at the time. So yeah, it could definitely come back at any point. I don't foresee it coming back anytime soon, but like I said, it's Gwinnett County. Never say never.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview.
You're welcome.
I will talk to you later personally.
Talk to you later. Bye.